everybody, and welcome to Aloe Gospel Music. Today I am showing off my cassette collection, Gospel Edition. Here we go. So the first ever cassette that I purchased is James Moss. As most of you know, J Moss, released in 1994, his album Last and Evil Days. This would be about 9 or 10 years before the J Moss Project, which is his breakout album. But before then, after he was in the duo with his brother, he went solo. This was the only thing he did in the 90s before he kind of went to producing. Last and Evil Days should be up on the channel now, and you can go check it out there. A subscriber actually requested it, and it's the reason why I got a cassette player in the first place, because I couldn't find a copy in any other format. So there we go, Last and Evil Days, James Moss. Right, next up in no particular order, Minna Standard, Volume 3. Minna Standard, Volume 3. I have it on CD. I really liked it. Picked it up on cassette as well. Next up, Kirk Franklin and God's Property. The God's Property album, featuring songs like Stomp, Up Above My Head, My Life Is in Your Hands, classics. Have this on CD as well. It was a part of a buy one get one free deal, so grabbed the cassette. I was really trying to get something else, but it's all right. It's in the cassette collection now. Hezekiah Walker and the Love Fellowship Crusade Choir. This is one of their earlier albums. I don't know if it's their first or second. It's toward the beginning. I'll make it. This album is not on streaming, so I wanted to grab it. I think this was probably one of the cheaper copies I could find. I don't know if there is a CD of this, so it was between this or vinyl. I decided to go with cassette. Another Minna Standard album. I bought this at the same time as Volume 3. Feels Like Rain and Volume 3 are my two favorite Minna Standard albums. I can play them all the way through over and over, so I figured cassette would be a pretty good format because there's not a lot of skipping that can be done. So really enjoy this. Gives you a nice vintage feel. Joe Pace, God's Got It. I know this album because of We Worship You featuring Fred Hammond. I haven't listened to the whole thing. I don't know all the songs quite yet, but hopefully I will in the near future. Just something I picked up to bolster up my collection. Probably should have gotten it on CD. I'm probably going to get a lot of things on CD instead of cassette if I can. Park Stewart. This is an honorary member of Commission and one of the writers for songs like Ordinary Just Won't Do, Cry On, and a lot of the songs led by Mitchell Jones. Well, what year is this? In 1991, that would have been the same year that Number 7 was released. He went solo and released Parks. The only song I know on here right now is Love Me Right, which is kind of catchy. I'm looking forward to going through the whole thing over again. You should be able to find this on either Aloe Gospel Music or AGM Radio, one of the two. Look for it on AGM Radio in the future. That's where all the music is going to be. I couldn't find this on CD, so cassette was the option. One of my favorite cassettes in the collection, Mary Mary's first album, Thankful. Really good. You can play it all the way through. While there are a couple songs that aren't necessarily my favorites, they're still good enough to where you don't feel bad for listening through the whole thing. Of course, Shackles is a classic. I Got It, Still My Child, Wade in the Water. Lots of great stuff. I Sings. Definitely one of the better purchases that I have in my collection. What you're looking for, this is probably my favorite, well, aside from maybe the Christmas album, This is my favorite Kirk Franklin and the Family album. I do have this on CD, which is a good thing because unfortunately this cassette does not work. The seller let me keep it. They didn't want it back when I tried to return it, but it plays in slow motion and the sound doesn't really work, which is unfortunate. So now it's just a relic. That's kind of the issue with buying such old media. New Divine Destiny, if you can see that. I might add pictures later on so you can see better. This was a choir started by John P. Key. I found out about them from the Tommy Boy compilation, Keeping It Real. They have a song on there, so I decided to check out the rest of the album. They also have a single you may be familiar with called Be Ready. You can see that music video on YouTube and everything like that. So yeah, the whole album is here. Once again, something I could not find on CD. This is super rare. So I put it up on the channel. So you should be able to see that on AGM radio. Shaking the House live in LA, featuring Fred Hammond and Radical for Christ, Hezekiah Walker and Yolanda Adams. This was on streaming and the concert was on YouTube at one point. It is no longer, although you still can't see a few of the video clips. But since the album was taken off of streaming, I decided to go ahead and get it, and hopefully it will be on the channel soon. Next we have Deliverance, Say You Believe. Deliverance is a gospel group kind of comparable to the Winans or Commission, but they never reached the same level of fame as those groups. But they still have a very solid body of work. I was actually looking for their album called 1990s, but in the meantime, I also purchased this while I was kind of looking through their discography. I've only played it once and it's been a while, but from what I can remember, I liked it. So I should have gotten it on vinyl because I think, it kind of has a cool album cover. So I might get it on vinyl too, who knows. Alright, we have another Minute Standard album. This is their debut album, self-titled Minute Standard. I know the songs Winter and Yeah Yeah. Those are probably the best in my opinion. I'm gonna have to go through this album again, listen to it once, like on my phone or something. And as you can see, this is still sealed. I bought this at the same time I bought Feels Like Rain in Volume 3. Just adding it to the collection. Next we have the Cannoli Brothers. I believe this is their second album. I always try to go for the artists that don't have their albums available on the internet so that I can post them and make them available to everyone else. This was one of those albums. I also kind of like the cover. It's blue, parachutes, fun. It's a nice R&B, young type of album. What year is this? $1999. Right. Then we have Fred Hammond Presents Just in Case You Missed It and More. This is featuring a lot of different artists covering songs either by Fred Hammond or Commission, and there are a couple originals on here. A couple of these are members of Radical for Christ, like Joanne Rosario or Pam Kenyon Donald. I haven't heard all of it yet. It's still sealed, which is cool. But I do know My Heart Depends on You, and there are a lot of songs on here. So I can't read through all of these right now, but looking forward to playing this very soon. I have Donnie McClurkin Live in London. I really like this album. I have it on VHS. I grew up on the VHS tape. I have the CD, but I do not have the liner notes or the case. So I thought it would be cool to get it on cassette while I was collecting cassettes. And now I have the liner notes as well. Definitely an album that has no skips, so cassette works perfectly for this. BB and CC Winans, Different Lifestyles. I guess I was kind of on a BB and CC kick. So, and I was just looking for cassettes to buy. So I bought it. This is William Beckton and Friends, Heart of a Love Song. I have not heard any of these songs yet. Yet again, this is an album that is not available on the internet, and I want to make it available to everybody out there. So look for this very soon on AGM Radio. Brent Jones and the TP Mob. I really like Good Time. And again, I was in a cassette buying mood. Just trying to get things that, I don't know, just have a nice vibe to it. You can just listen to it on the Walkman. I don't know. I buy for vibes sometimes. Kenny Smith, this too was a part of the Buy One Get One along with the God's Property album. I was really trying to buy a Karen Clark tape, but there was like a spending minimum, so I had to get something else. This actually worked out kind of like the Donnie McClurkin tape. I do have this on CD, but the liner notes are damaged, and so it's nice that I could replace them here without having to buy a whole new CD. Last but not least, this is probably my favorite album out of this whole bunch. That is Ordinary Just Won't Do by Commissioned. I think this is my favorite Commissioned album, period. I already have it on vinyl. So once again, getting it on cassette just made sense because I like every single song on here. And yes, that is the end of my cassette collection. I'm also going to do a Christian hip-hop edition of this, so stay tuned for that. Remember to like, subscribe, comment. Let me know if you have any of these, if you remember getting any of these albums. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.